Hi, it's Cindy with the Port Huron Recreation Department again, and today we're going to make a Valentine's Day project, and basically it can be a candle or it can be a vase. So we're just using a mason jar. I actually used an old one that I had that I just cleaned up, and let's get started. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So today we're going to do something that's going to look like this. It's I took an old jar, and it's one of those ball wide mouth, so it's wider than the ones that I think they're about that big. If they're you can get your hand in here. That's my point. Because we can put a candle in here, or we can put some sand. If you don't if you put clear on here, you can see through it. I'll show you what we're talking about. So basically, I just spray painted the can. The lid wouldn't come off. It was that old of a jar, excuse me. And I spray painted the jar white. If you want, you could leave it clear even. That way you could see right through it and see the flame if you like to do that. And then in that case, you could fill it up with some sand and some shells if you wanted to do something like that. Or keeping in with the Valentine's Day type theme, you could put potpourri in there. The only thing that I ask is that if you're going to put potpourri in there, potpourri is flammable. So use one of the electric candles, and that would be these little guys. So if you use one of these and you put it in with the potpourri, you'll be fine. So I spray painted that, and since the lid was on here, I didn't want to spray the lid and make it white. I ended up wanting to keep it. It's kind of a aluminum looking color. Actually, this one was pretty rusty, and what I did for this is I used a paint pen, just a silver one that I've had around for a little while. And the way you use these is you shake them up like this. Make sure the lid's on it really good so it doesn't open up, because sometimes they can splash. But you want to watch and make sure it's not coming out. But you can see this is pretty wet here. It's very shiny, you can see that. And if I put it on my scratch paper, you can see that I did it before. You can see that it's coming out. It's not coming out in a blob either. So I basically just colored the whole rim of these. I got two here going. So I just colored the rim just like that. And I got into the cracks too. Like that. And it worked out. You can't see inside. If I see a little spot, I'll touch it up. It covers it pretty well. The spray paint was just regular, I think it was Rust-Oleum. I just sprayed it with one coat, and then I went and I painted around the jar in this pink color. And I just used this palette here. And last time I showed you how to save your palette, keep it moist. I've got that paper towel that's in there that's wet. And I'll pull that out. Yeah, careful because it'll stick together. After a while, if you can keep it kind of open like that while you're not using it, and make sure that this part with the paint on it doesn't stick, you'll be good. So I just took my jar, I mixed a little bit of this white Deco Art paint. This was from Meyer. I think this was from Meyer too, but, or no, this might have been Hobby Lobby, I don't know. But this was kind of a shiny metallic pink color. Looks like that. I took the two and I blended them together in the middle here. Probably about 3 or 4 drops to about a teaspoon of the 3 or 4 drops of the pink to a teaspoon of the white would kind of give you a pretty good mixture. It's gonna be a pink anyway. So I kept the geez, I might have lost for words. I kept the painter's tape on there so that if I went over the top here a little too much and I hit this, it'll protect it, because I already did do the silver part on there with that paint pen. So I'll just show you how I did this on this side over here. And I did random size stripes. So I'm just going down, try to get that little lip part there. Just tap it and then pull it down. Try to keep a straight line. If it's off a little, that's okay. I didn't want this to be too perfect, because I wanted it to look a little more on the crafty side and a little more freestyle. So I just kind of let it go off the edge here. But I think I did this. This was a little easier. If you hold it, see, with the wide mouth version, you can get your arm in here and you can steady this. So I did a skinny there. I'll do a little wider over here of a stripe. And just come off the edge there. If your line's a little funky there, you can fix it. Go back over it. This dries pretty quick because we're only doing one coat. When you get that little lip right there from your brush, when it comes out the edge, that'll take a little longer. And I'll do kind of a medium size right here. Probably do 2 lines together, like a little wider. So that's about it. If you wanted to do more lines, you could. I kept only one light coat of the spray paint on there, the white, because I want to be able to, if I put a candle in this one, I want it to be able to see through. So the lighter you've got it, the better it'll see through, obviously. So let's set this aside for a second. And I probably won't use that brush again. This was about an inch wide brush. I think I've used this before. So I got that done and let it dry. I'm going to leave this side alone and show you what else I did. Once it was all dry, I took some, this is 150 grit sandpaper, and I just kind of brushed over the words and anything that was sticking up. You can go in a circle. If you're trying to go along with the lines, I would suggest just going up and down, because what's going to happen is it might wear off a little bit of your paint, and I actually meant to do that too, because that way the light will shine through a little bit more. So kind of roughed it up basically, and tried to have all of the words or whatever else we had sticking up there, let it come through those lines. The Made in the USA. My paint over here is still a little wet, so I'm not going to touch that yet. It's drying pretty quick though, but you can tell. Over here, this one has the measurements on it. You can actually get onto your pink a little bit too if you want. It's going to be a little harder to get the sanding done on the pink because it'll be your second coat, and therefore your paint's a little thicker on that. But we'll try to get measurements coming through the pink here. A little bit more. if you really wanted to tackle this and it wasn't coming off, you could just get a thicker type sandpaper, a heavier grit, and that should do the job. So this is the wet over here. This is the dry. So carefully. That's what it looks like when it's all sanded. So after that, I started adding in little hearts. And I can show you how to do that. I put little hearts on and then I put dots. So I practiced a little bit, see if I could get my technique down. And I kind of did, so let's see what happens here. Get situated a little bit. I think I have a little bit of cleaning to do because when I sanded, that put little fragments of paint on my work surface. And I think there's also glitter from the hearts that I did earlier. So I get my paint palette back. And this paint was a little thicker when I was using it. So this might have, yeah, it kind of got a little bit of a skin to it. I'm going to stir it up and see if I can still work with it. Get these out of the way. Let's see what it does here. Not too bad. It's a little dry because it's thicker, but it'll do. So I'm going to take my jar and find the spots. Oh, okay. So I don't have, it's still drying, but gosh, it's quick. So I'll finish this up later. But I only did a couple lines here, so yeah, just these three. And the big guy here, he's almost done, so looking good. All right. So I got my brush loaded. Tap it off a little bit so there's not too much on there. And I started with a little line, and then I just held my brush there and turned it out and pulled it down a little bit. So it looks like a little comma. Go get some more paint. And then start kind of in the middle again where I started before, and then pull it up like a little heart. Just takes a little practice. So I'll do this side a couple times so you can get the idea. And just like practice it on paper first if you want. I'm going over pretty much anything, even where I sanded. So you can tell that my hearts aren't all going to be exactly the same, and that's okay. I'm just trying to make them kind of go different angles. So you just got to turn your brush once in a while. So go way up here. See that it might start off a little funky, and you can just kind of brush it in like that. These will dry pretty quick, so I'm hoping to show you the glitter right after this, how I got that glitter on it. And it's a pretty nifty technique and easy. I'll go. This is my wet one. I'll go over here then. That. And then turn it and touch and turn. I think I need more paint there. one got away from me. All right, there's a big bump there. You don't like the big bumps, then go ahead and avoid them for sure. All right, it's looking pretty cute. Go way down here. So there's a bunch of hearts on there. Then I put little dots. So I just went and poked my tip of this brush. It's an angle, the 1/2 inch to 3/8 brush that I used before. I'm just dipping the tip in. And I'm just going to touch down randomly. And pick up some more paint here and there because it's going to, I kind of have a point here. The point will kind of go away after a while, so just keep picking up some more paint. And you might hear some rattling noises. There, I shared my art room with a couple little girl mice, and it sounds like they're drinking some water right now. And there you have it with the hearts and the dots. So I'll wipe that off and set that one aside. I will be washing my brushes when I'm all done. So now that the back side is kind of dry, I can set this down here, and I have a little tray that I can set this in, and luckily this was a tray I had. It's got a little hole here that I can kind of dump the glitter in, because I'll be putting the glitter on here as I go. It doesn't, oh, okay, it fits luckily right in there. So the easy thing that I found was to, these are a little wet, so I'm going to just be really careful, but I think I can do this since wet is wet. And it's going to be covered with some glitter. We got Elmer's glue, the little squeezy bottle. And this is something I got from the rec department last summer. We were working on another project, another one of the videos. I think it was the first time I actually did videos. And it was the summer art. So I squeezed glue in the middle of all these hearts. And I'm just going to go in, and I did about 4 at a time because it's easier when you're shaking some of the glitter on here. So just paint around, move it around on top of your paint that you've put on here already. You know, whatever color you chose to use, whatever color combinations. And so I'm just kind of pushing it towards the edge. And there's a little, kind of a lot. I did like 2 drops. I just want to make sure that the glitter is going to stay on there once I put it on. I'm being very careful not to touch my dots. I would say for you to, you know, let it dry first. I did do that on the other jar there. And see, there's that one. So I'm just tapping it a little to keep it thick all the way around it. I'm going to use this glitter today, the holographic. I used the little red glitter last time for this guy. So I'll try this one. Just shaking it right on there and make a little pile. You can see that. It's just a little pile of glitter. Do this one up close too. I got this tray in here so I won't be losing all this glitter, and unlike my red one, I can actually put my glitter back in here because it's actually open. This red glitter it's only a shaker. I think it came out of one of the kids' projects or something. I can't even get this lid off. So be mindful of that. If you want to save the glitter that you've overused, then make sure you've got a container to put it back into. I do have another container that I just put miscellaneous glue in, or glitter, excuse me, and then I just use that as like a confetti color. So I let this sit on there for a couple seconds, and I just turn it so that it kind of falls off as I turn. I've got 2 more to do over here. So the glue, these guys actually, I think they're dry already. You might even get away with spreading it with your tip of your glue bottle, just like that. That works really nice, as long as it's dry, the paint itself. So, no, again, I don't have a lot to where it's dripping off, but it is sitting there in a puddle, kind of. Put this glitter on this one. And this guy. I'm not tapping it off yet. Let it kind of sit there. Then carefully turning it, because there. It's kind of on an angle because I don't want it to lay in the tray like that. Got 4 more hearts over here, so I'm just going to use the tip now that I know these are dry. And I kept, like, the color of the hearts here, I kept as one color just in case some of the glitter did bump off at some point. That way, now I'm going to hold it here because I think that, I'm going to tap it a little bit. I think I might be hitting it if I turned it any more, but I do need to get the glue on here. Little tricks that I'm learning, just sharing them as we go. So if you get a little bit of glue off the edge, wipe it with your finger in one line and kind of push it back to where it goes. And then just put your glitter on there. There's the glittery. It's looking pretty cute there. So you can see where some of the glitter didn't hit, but the outline or whatever you see of the paint will match these little dots, so it all kind of goes together. You could even put rose petals in here. Would be kind of cute for Valentine's Day. I'm going to just tap it all off now. When I feel that it's all completely dry, I'll take my little brush here, or big brush, or even like a blush type brush, how light and fluffy those are, to brush all this off and into the tray. That way I can save all my glitter that I overcompensated for, or with. And, so there, that's that. Remember to take off your tape. I can do that really quick too. If you wanted to have perfect lines on here too, you could always put tape over the spots that you want to cover to do your second coat. And then you would have more even lines. But I really didn't care. I kind of liked it like this. So I'm going to set this guy aside like that. Get this palette and I'm going to put that away. So I'm going to save this palette so that I can come back and finish this side that's still kind of drying. It looks like it might even be dry right now. So I'll come back to that. You guys understand how to do this now, I'm guessing. If not, you could always pause it, rewind it, whatever you need to do. So I'm gonna set. And so then I wanted to make a little tag, and I wanted to tie some raffia around it so that it could be a little gift. All right, so remember the marble paper that we made not too long ago? I was talking about how I was going to make something with it. I think we'll make the tag with it. And I have the three samples that I made. I think I'm going to use this one. I kind of like it because it stands out pretty well. So I'm first going to decide about what size I want it to be. Folded, we'll say probably about, let's see, how about 2.5 inches. So I got this handy measuring system here. I'm looking for a good spot to do. I think I like this area right here. So I'm just gonna measure and cut it. Got my scissors. Since I've got a ruler right here, I kind of use it a lot. I'm going to actually flip this over so I don't write on the cover of my paper. So 3 inches, and then I'll go 3 inches up here. If you have one of those cutters for like scrapbooking, I suggest using that because that's an easier way. I have a ruler that I can actually, I don't know what to do. Wait. Make sure I did this. I did it at 3 inches. Let's see. 3 inches is fine. Okay, so we'll do 3 inches. I'm going to take my line that I made here, my line that I made over here. I'm going to connect them. And I'm just going to cut on that line. Yes, I do have one of those cutters, but I'm doing it this way for those of you that may not have the whole stash going. I used to be a heavy scrapbooker and card maker, so I ended up with a lot of stuff. So I'm going to make it a complete square. I want it to be 6 inches. I don't want to use this part right here because it's got a lot of white on it. So I'm going to just cut off 1 inch of that. So I'll measure and I'll draw the line again. And cut it right off. Got a little bit of glitter going on here. There's the lines. Snip that right off. So basically it's going to be 3 inches by 6 inches when it's all said and done. And so I gotta measure 6 inches now. 3, 6, so it's about right here. If it's not perfect, remember, people aren't taking a ruler to this stuff on you. They're not testing you, so don't worry too much. Just enjoy the process. So, one more time. So that's our piece of paper that we're going to be working with. I'm going to fold it together. You know, I just noticed that I did have kind of a mess on the back here. So in that case, I have another piece of paper. Oh my, and this is exactly 6 inches itself. So what I think I'm going to do is use the pink paper instead. So it's all about being able to work on fix things on the fly as far as art goes. There's always some kind of a variable that's going to be possible in your way. But you just got to be able to work around it. Find lots of workarounds doing art. Okay. So this will be the inside of our tag now. And this is where you will actually write on. So it's going to be like, I see my line here a little bit. I'm going to do it like this so you can't see it when it's on the outside. So basically now this is 3 inches by 3 inches square. This is 3 inches by 6 inches. So my idea was to kind of overlap it like this. I was going to actually use white over this. So I'm still going to do that. But I'm going to just cut this down a little bit. And I think it's going to be off a little now. Yeah. No, I got a better idea. Okay, so you can see that if I was going to overlap this, I want this to show. That's about 1/8 of an inch. So I need to take this down, back down to the 3 inches, and then I'll show you how we can make it all fit. So we're going down to 3 inches with this guy. Here, and you might already know what I'm getting to, but I got to go through the process so that since I did have it a little different and had to switch it up. So 3 inches. Then what we're going to do is cut it down by 1/4 of an inch on 2 sides. That will give me an 1/8 inch all the way around. So if I had an 1/8 inch, 1/8 inch, 1/8 inch, 1/8 inch, shrink it down to fit in this little square, I can just take 1/4 inch off of one side and 1/4 inch off of another side. So I've got this little ruler on my table, do 1/4 inch, and I'm marking it down over here, 1/4 inch. So I'll cut this one first. There's cutting 1/4 inch off, which will give me an 1/8 off of each of these sides. Now I'm going to cut 1/4 inch off of one of these sides. I'm going to do it over here. So by now you guys should have this whole cutting business down. So this actually measures 2.5, like I I was kind of aiming towards. Nope, this is 2 3/4. Sorry, my bad. Because I only cut a 1/4 inch off each side. Okay. So now it's got a little border all the way around it. So that's pretty cute. Then I have a stamp that I thought would look really cute. But if I went and put this right on here, you wouldn't really see it very well. So we're going to put it on a piece of paper and use that. Now this paper that I already started using is too big already. That was my test sample. So I'm going to take another piece of scrap. What is this? Cardstock. I'm going to get it down to 2.5 inches square so that way I can have another 1/8 inch border around this one. So it's going to be 3 high. So I'll just measure this out again like we've been doing. Kind of hard to tell on my board here, so. I think that's it. Okay. Cut this guy down. Doesn't look exact, but hey, that's all right. I'll just cut straight with my scissors and work it out later. All right, so this little stamp is gonna fit in here pretty nicely now, like that. Or I think I'm gonna actually do this one like that. And then I'm going to probably put a hole right here so I can attach it to my tag. I have some red ink block ink pad. That's it. And this is kind of a dry pad. I haven't used this color in a while, so if you have a pad that's kind of dry like this, you can actually do something that's called huffing on it, and it's just putting some of your moist air from your mouth on there, and you're just doing a noise, breathing out. So here goes. And then I'll just try to kind of center it a little bit, push down so the ink goes all over in the right spots, and then pull up. That's pretty cute. Then I've got some tape. This is permanent, like scrapbooking tape. It's double-sided so that I can stick stuff down and it won't come up. That's the plan. So this is how that's gonna look, and it worked out pretty well. And then that's what it's gonna look like when it's all said and done. And then if you have a stamp like a heart, or you could even draw a picture on here, that would look really cute. Somebody would appreciate that. And then you can write in your sentiment right there. So one thing you can do to make this stay down is use the tip of your thumb here and slide it across, and that will fold it into a nice crease so it lays flatter. So it's not as wide. And put like a generous amount because you don't want this coming off. If you do happen to use glue like Elmer's, just maybe put it on and then wipe it off with, say, your old gift card that you used maybe for another project. So I'm just going to eyeball this and try to make it to where it looks like a little frame here. Once I stick it down, it might not be coming up very well, so just got to make sure that you kind of center it. There. It still looks good. probably not exactly center, but I can't tell. Then you always want to put the glue on the guy that you're putting down, because if I put glue out here and end up on the edge where I would have stuck something, then it would be sticky out there. So go to your original item that you're going to stick down. Let's see if this is working. Maybe I got it backwards. Yeah, this is a whole new kind of tape here for me. Never used this brand, but it works. There we go. Put that guy on, same idea. Just get a little frame there. So you got like a triple frame. And there we used our marbly paper from the shaving cream. And I have a hole punch. This. And if you want to see where you're going with it, flip that guy off. And then you can see the hole. Just do it upside down. I'm going to put my hole right there. So it's right in the middle. A little harder to do, about 4 layers there. But hey, it worked there. That's really cute. I've got Raffia. That I can tie it on with. So it's just this kind of straw looking stuff. I'm gonna start by putting it around my jar. And since it's so long, I'm gonna go around twice on this guy. I'm gonna tie it once. Then I'm going to take one end and slip my little Hugs and Kisses tag on it. There's 2 strands here, so I gotta get one strand through, and then the other strand right there. Okay, kind of loosened up, but that's okay because I can just pull it now. Let's see. Got one more strand that's kind of hanging. Oh, this guy. Where is he? Keep your strand straight. Okay, so you can see it. I got the tie going in the front where it says ball. You might have a cute decoration. You might want to do the other side, which mine has like a, I think it's a floral or it's fruit or something on the front. Just tie it in a knot. There you get an overhand knot, so that ties it right to your jar. And then you can take the rest and make your bow, or you can leave it like that. You can use a bunch and then leave it. And I'm going to make a little bow. So there you have it right there. And then you just put one of these guys in there. Turn it on. Plop it in there. Kind of center it. You could even put a little bit of maybe tape or something down there. Maybe some double-sided tape that's got the foam on both sides, and that might stick it in there a little bit better, but it's really not gonna matter because if you move it around it won't do much. So that's what it looks like. Let's see if I can get you a little view without the lights. Still light outside, but I can see it glowing a little here. There. I think you can see that. So there you have it. That's our little jar. You can either put a candle in there. You can put some cute flowers in there. We did our tag with our old project that we made paper out of, some decorative paper. And you guys can give this away as a nice gift for Valentine's Day. There's many different things that you can do with these. It doesn't have to be flower theme. Could be just a nature theme. It could be checkers. You could go this way with it. They have plaid on there. Sky's the limit. So have fun with this one. I'd love to see your pictures of what you've done. Like to see them glowing too. That would be pretty neat. Maybe I can sneak in a picture of this glowing and maybe even do the other one and put some flowers in it. So thanks for joining me. We hope to hear from you. Please like our page and I'll see you next time. Take care.